Couches, these guys are out there in the dirt, risking it all for that next big score. This isn't nearly what we thought it was. Parker Schnabel just uncovered something that could change everything. An ancient, abandoned gold mine hidden deep in the wilderness, untouched for centuries. Inside, there were signs of wealth beyond imagination, with veins of gold gliding in the dim light. Without hesitating for a second, he claimed all the gold there for himself. But what dangers or untold stories were buried with this incredible find? Tune in as we uncover what Parker found that made him decide to retire from the business forever, the true cost of chasing gold dreams. The first thing Parker's team noticed was how clean the gold looked. They weren't using mercury or any old-school techniques. This was all about efficiency and precision, and the results were impressive. Over 100 g of gold after processing just a few hours' worth of material. That's some serious payoff for minimal effort, right? And the cost of operations here was way less than what Parker was used to in the Yukon. With no permafrost or heavy machinery slowing things down, it almost seemed too good to be true. But as they dug deeper into the mine, they uncovered something far more shocking than gold, a discovery that could change everything we thought we knew about this forgotten site. Then came the big dig, a massive 150-ton hole that Kono, another miner in the area, had been working on for weeks. The goal? To hit the bedrock where gold deposits are most concentrated. Sounds simple, but here's the catch. This project had already drained tens of thousands of dollars, and Kono was deep in debt, trying to strike it rich before the bills buried him. High risk, high reward, right? It's a gamble Parker could relate to, and he wasn't about to miss out on seeing how it all unfolded. As Parker's crew explored the site, the challenges became clear. The ancient river channels they were chasing weren't exactly predictable. Sometimes, the bedrock dipped suddenly or veered off in unexpected directions. It was like following a treasure map with half the clues missing. But his instincts told him they were close enough to keep digging, at least. This was the kind of ground that hadn't been tested in decades, maybe even centuries. And that's exactly where the best gold tends to hide. Kono's crew had their eyes on the prize too. They were moving dirt by the ton, hoping to uncover even a small payload that could change everything. Just one good day of mining, 5 to 6 kilos of gold, could make all the effort worth it. But it wasn't just about the gold. It was about the thrill of the hunt, the chase for something that might still be out there. Every scoop of dirt brought them closer to either victory or another layer of frustration. Parker couldn't help but admire the determination he saw in Kono and his team. They were in deep, literally and financially, but they weren't giving up. For Parker, it was a reminder of why he started mining in the first place. It's not just about the money. It's about the adventure, the unknown, and the chance to uncover something truly remarkable. Sure, there were risks, but isn't that what makes it exciting? As the crew worked tirelessly to uncover the mine's hidden secrets, the stakes couldn't have been higher. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The ground was unpredictable, the equipment wasn't foolproof, and the clock was ticking. If they didn't hit gold soon, all the effort, time, and money could go down the drain. Yet, there was something about this site that felt different. Maybe it was the untouched nature of the mine, or maybe it was just the determination of everyone involved. Either way, Parker knew they were on the brink of something big. The deeper they dug, the closer they got to the bedrock, where the richest gold deposits usually rest. Digging through hundreds of feet of dirt and rock isn't exactly a walk in the park, but the team was committed. They'd seen this kind of gamble pay off before, and they weren't about to stop now. The gold they had already found was enough to keep them motivated, but the thought of hitting a massive payload, that's what really kept them going. And then, there was the history of the place. This wasn't just any gold mine. It was a relic from a bygone era, a time when miners used basic tools and pure grit to carve out their fortunes. Parker couldn't help but think about the people who had worked this land before him. What had they found? What had they left behind? The past and present were colliding in a way that made this dig feel even more significant. As the hours turned into days, the pressure mounted. His crew knew they were running out of time, but they also knew they couldn't rush the process. Every scoop of dirt had to be examined, every rock carefully moved. The closer they got to the bedrock, the more intense the anticipation became. Was this going to be the find of a lifetime or just another hole in the ground? The final moments of the dig were a blur of activity. Machines roared, dirt flew, and everyone held their breath as they reached the bottom of the pit. And then, there it was. Gold. Not just a little, but enough to make all the effort worth it. The excitement was palpable as Parker and his crew celebrated their success. They had done it. They had found what so many others had missed. The gold they found was exciting, but Parker Schnabel's story of how he became a mining leader is just as interesting. Growing up with gold in his blood, Parker wasn't just some kid growing up in a quiet Alaskan town. Born on July 22, 1994, in Haines, Alaska, he had gold dust practically running through his veins. His parents, Roger and Nancy Schnabel, probably didn't know they were raising someone who would turn into a TV star and a mining prodigy. And then, there was his grandfather, John Schnabel, the man behind the Big Nugget Mine. That mine wasn't just some family business. It was practically a playground where Parker got his first taste of a world most kids couldn't even imagine. While other kids were busy building sandcastles, Parker was learning how to dig for gold. By the time he was 5, yes, 5, he wasn't just tagging along to the mine. He was working there, operating heavy machinery as a teenager. No big deal for him. He made it look easy, but handling that kind of responsibility so young is far from normal. And yet, he thrived, soaking up every bit of knowledge like a sponge. High school for him wasn't all about books and homework. Sure, he hit the books, but he also hit the court as part of the varsity basketball team. Balancing sports, school, and his work at the mine wasn't something most teens could pull off. But he wasn't like most teens. And while basketball taught him teamwork, his real passion was waiting for him back at the mine. Mining was more than a job, it was his calling. When high school ended, the big question loomed, college or mining? Most people would have taken the safe route, maybe tried their hand at higher education. Not Parker. He stepped right into the deep end, taking over the Big Nugget Mine after his grandfather retired. Imagine the pressure of running a gold mine while barely out of your teens. Yet, he handled it with a confidence that made you wonder how he did it. Under his leadership, the Big Nugget Mine didn't just survive, it thrived. From the first season of Gold Rush to the biggest gold finds, every year brought new challenges and big wins. The show wasn't just about mining, it was about the people behind it. And Parker's story stood out, a young guy taking on a rough and demanding industry. That's the kind of drama that keeps people watching. And Parker didn't disappoint.